Greetings, Patrick here. 8 questions with. Welcome to the show. Welcome to Wednesday. Um, it's a beautiful day here in southeastern Michigan. Bright and sunny, hot. Supposed to get some rain tomorrow to cool us off. Back down into the mid 80s. We'll see. Um, wow. So far this week has been outstanding for us. We had a terrific show last night uh, with Joe Depardo. Oh, DeBartolo. I got it. Derek Brash, Nina Trader, uh, uh, Darren Bowman, um, and Bobby Thompson. Uh, did I get his last name right? Because I don't want to be. Yeah, okay. I just don't want to get anybody's name wrong. So today, man, well, this is a big one for us today. This is one of the big ones, and like many other shows, one show leads to another. Um, so we're talking with screenwriter and author Tracee Beebe, who co-wrote the screenplay for The Mortuary's Assistant, which stars Paul Sparks and Willa Holland. I watched the movie. Came out on Shutter, so you already know what I'm going to say. Of course, right? Uh, it wasn't Shutter part of ISC. Yeah. Is it worthy? Oh, hell to the yes. The assistant's The Mortuary's Assistant is a powerful film. Really enjoyed it. It wasn't until actually I was sitting there just commenting to myself how good Willa Holland was. And I'm like, wow, because the last time I could really remember seeing her was in Arrow. She did over 100 episodes of Arrow. But as I was sitting there afterwards, I was thinking, I know I've seen her other than that, and she's done horror before, but I just couldn't remember for the life of me. So I went to IMDb, and all of a sudden I look over there, and there it was staring back at me. And of course, Willa Holland could do horror. She did one of my very favorite horror films, actually. One of my favorite supernatural horror films. She did Legion. She played Audrey in Legion. Good performance too. Her character was cool as hell in that movie. Um, so watching her in The Mortuary's Assistant, very well written script. Really enjoyed it. Thought it was smartly directed by Jeremiah Kipp. Um, it was really good, real strong. And it's funny because I keep on saying this recently, but it's true. Now I know. I think writing for a video game is probably the hardest screenplay writing to do. I do. I think that. I think so now. There's always going to be somebody, not totally happy. A couple years ago, I mentioned this. We had Borderlands. I had never played Borderlands. I have no idea what that was. All I know was that I went to see the movie, and the movie kicked ass. It was a great summer movie. I never played The Mortuary's Assistant, so I don't know who Rebecca is. I don't know who Dawn is. Uh, yeah, let me get it. Okay, those who know, right? I don't know. I don't. Well, the main character to me is Rebecca Owen, and I don't know. I don't know the game because I've never played it. So I think to me that helps because I have no expectations at all. I go in with an open mind, and lo and behold, it turns out to be just outstanding. Very creepy, very effective. Hello, Lady Valerie. Glad you're here. Glad you're here. We're going to be talking with screenwriter Tracee Beebe. She'll be here in about 15 minutes. And we got a big one. We're going to be talking about she uh, co-wrote the screenplay for The Mortuary's Assistant. Probably did most of the writing herself. The creator chipped in, Brian Clark. He's the one that created the game itself. So I don't know if he had a hand in. I'm sure he had a hand picking who wrote the screenplay because it's his movie. I'm sure he had I'm sure he had, I think, I would like to think that he would have input in the director and the screenwriter, because if he did an outstanding job. I mean, he really did really, really well. Um, so Tracee also has written and published 4 books. She is an award-winning filmmaker as well. Um, right before I got on here, I got wrecked. Boy, did I got wrecked. But I'm going to save that to after the interview. Then I'll send you some of the folks who ask about that. I'll send you why. Tracee can write. That's all I gotta say. She can write. Um, all right. And one of the cool things I said is, like, what's really cool is I said, like, once one door opens to another, and through Tracee being interviewed here, and I also met the director of the film, Jeremiah Kipp, who also wrote another Shutter movie called Slapface. Now, I remember seeing Slapface out, but I have never watched it, but I do know that movie. And he directed The Mortuary Assistant, and he's going to come over and pay us a visit in August. Now, how's that? Do we not keep you entertained here on 8 Questions with? Uh, let's see. Val is watching her Brewers while she waits for Tracee. Someone could just go bury the Yankees right now. I just end their misery. I would be all right with that. Uh, God, they have absolutely no hitting. Their hitting just is so gone. They they cannot get anybody healthy. They can't get anybody to hit consistently. It's pretty bad. It's We're not going to stay in second place. There's either Baltimore or Toronto or Boston's going to catch wind, and they're going to catch us. And while I should be totally bummed out by that, I should be totally, in a way, I'm not, because if the Yankees can fade out of here this year, maybe we can get rid of Boone finally get rid of him and get a good manager in that knows how to handle the pitching staff. Because Aaron Boone he's the worst. He really is. He's the and if Cashman is the main if Cashman is the main reason why we still are carrying Doval on our roster, fire his ass too. Had a great talk last night with Derek and Darren and Joe and Nina, just absolutely, and Bobby. Just had an absolutely blast with them. We're talking about uh, his film Torture of the. I know. I'm thinking about it, man. I'm thinking about it. There's room on the bandwagon. But what saves me is, like, what really saves me is, like, just when I think the Yankees just can't stink it up anymore, I could just look at the Mets and then just go, like, what am I bitching about? I mean, it could be worse. We could be the Mets. I mean, because the Mets is below. Uh, Sorry, John Grande. That's why they call the graveyard, because John's too busy burying every single Met team of the year into the graveyard. Grande's graveyard, or AKA the Met season. So just when it can't get any worse, you think, oh, thank God for the Mets. Okay. Um, yeah. So we had a great discussion last night with Derek Barash and his lovely wife Nina, uh, and Darren, Bobby, and Joe. Tremendous cast and crew. We're going to be back to talk to them. Probably talking to Bobby Thompson sometime in September. I know that Nina and Derek are going to Gross Fest. Gross Fest at the end of the year, at the end of the month, kids. If you're in Pittsburgh area, you need to get your tickets. Gross Fest, end of July, 1st of August, 2 days. Prices unbelievably low, unbelievably low. Steve Rzinski will be there along with his lovely wife Eileen. I mentioned that because Duke the Unicorn is going to be a guest at Gross Fest this year. Duke. the famous carousel unicorn is going to be at Gross Fest. Um, so safe to say, Lunchbox will not be there. Um, all right, let's get going on with what we got coming up. Next week, we have another busy week. Started off with Sunday. Sunday night, I will be hanging out over at Ben from the Cadaver Club's channel, along with the Mighty Mary Wilson and Jen from Jen's Reviews from the Grave. We are going to do a special IFC show for the 12th. We are picking up our 5 favorite IFC show, 5 movies that we watched in our series, plus 1 turkey. I know I should have made it 10. I keep saying this. I should have made it 10. Oh, it would have been so much easier to do 10. 5 is just impossible. 5's impossible. I just can't do 5. I really couldn't do even 10 in all seriousness. I'm gonna be changing my picks all the way up to the last possible minute. And even the ones that you would think that would be locked in, and I did too. There's so other ones out there that are so worthy to be picked and talked about. I might have to pass up on the sure things because I know they're sure things. I know that when it comes down to it, they're definitely some of the best movies we covered. I know this. So there's a few movies out there just based on the view counts that people have not seen yet, or we don't talk about them enough. And this is really one of the main reasons we want to do a special IFC show on Sunday, is just to talk a little bit about some of the movies that we have watched. I mean, and like the Mortuary's Assistant was put out by Shudder. How about that? And we've been doing Shudder a little bit now. Shudder and IFC are sisters or brothers. All right, Tracee is here. Let's go get her. Ta-da!
Hello.
Hello. So I almost had to ping you today and ask for like an hour. Like, hey, can you push me back an hour? Because I had to get my shit together because I watched Dog Years.
Oh, I should have warned you.
I was just I was that was
I get it.
really good.
Thank you.
That was really good. Yeah.
Thank you for
I'm
saying
gonna
that. I'm
send
so
it.
glad you watched it, and I love that it's still touching people even all these years later.
It's just wow. How do we even put that into words? It's like it's like I think heartbreaking is the word I would use. I mean,
Hmm.
yeah. I mean, you can't. Yeah, it's powerful. Totally blown away by it. Totally blown
Kind of
away by it.
amazing that it can do that in only 4.5 minutes, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That's what I'm
Yeah,
really
it's
proud
like
of with
that.
that.
I watched Kit Bull. That was like that. I
Mm.
watched the original Cargo.
So
That
good. Yeah. Actually, I think Cargo was kind of why I decided to try to make something as impactful as that in such a short amount of time. Cargo was
oh,
so good. I love that movie.
mission accomplished. Mission
Oh,
accomplished.
thank you. Thank you.
Um, and our friend Lady Valerie is here saying hello for joining us. Yes, thank you again for joining us, Tracee. And I believe in connections. Like the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Yeah.
But I managed to introduce myself to Jeremiah today.
Oh, cool. There you go. I wish he was on here with
Yeah,
us. I love him. He and I really get along really well together.
I can't. I was thinking about it too, but then I did something. I did something. I said, how about if you come over and hang out with us in August? And he said, yeah, I'd
Perfect.
love to.
There you go.
So
Perfect.
yeah. So so you might end up coming back to visit us then.
There you go.
Um, and I love your shirt, by the way.
It's my lucky shirt.
Uh, yeah, there's a lot of shark fanatics around here. I'm waiting for one to actually make an appearance. He loves shark movies, and
Oh,
yeah, I
cool.
do too. Yeah, shark movies. Who the hell would ever thought that shark movies would be as popular as they are now?
I know, right? Yeah, that's actually I have a shark movie in the works right now, and I'm just so excited to finally get it made and get it out there. So keep your eyes open for that one.
Nice, nice. I love it. I love it. Uh,
Mhm.
so I watched the Mortuary Assistant, and I've been saying this for a while. It used to be for me whenever I watched a screenwriter or a director, they would do a anthology,
Mhm.
anthology film. I always thought the anthology films were sort of like the hardest thing to write for because you got to write it so it stands alone, but yet
Mhm.
connects with, and that's got to be really hard. And there's been so many anthologies that I've watched where they just they just never connect. It's just
Mhm.
and it's just got to. I always thought that was the hardest type of screenplay to write. But a funny thing that happened to me on the way to the forum is I now think that video games are now the hardest thing to write for.
Yeah. Yeah.
It,
I'll agree with you on that. It's a whole different ball game for sure.
Before we get into that too deep, because we are going to be getting talking about it, I will say that I love the movie.
Oh, yay, I'm
I
so
thought the
glad.
movie, yeah. Oh my gosh, the writing was on point, acting on point, direction on point. I could not understand if anybody had any problems with it. I couldn't understand why there would be because
Mhm.
it's a very 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 good film, and I love the cast.
Oh, they did a good
Paul,
job with the casting, and Jeremiah just did a fabulous job as the director on that. I think
yeah.
so much of the success of that film is owed to him for sure.
Uh, it was funny because I'm sitting here, I'm watching Willa, and I remember seeing her from Green Arrow, and I'm sitting to
Mhm.
myself, I'm like, why do I know that face other than Green Arrow? I should know this. I should know this. I'm like, I totally lost it. I'm like, I don't get it. So I know the face, but so I go ahead and look on her IMDb, and then I'm like, oh, of course, it's like there she is in Legion, and Legion's like one of my very favorite movies, and I love that movie so much. And
Mhm.
she played Audrey in that, and she was so good in that. And then she did the Arrow series, and so
Mhm.
I totally forgot about Legion. And but boy, she can do horror, can't she?
She's good. Yeah. I was really, really pleased with her in this for sure. She
As
really
a
gave it her all
screenwriter,
and just really just like really invested herself in the character. I loved it.
yeah, me too. As a screenwriter, that's got to be the most rewarding aspect of seeing your script out, watching your words and actors acting on your words.
Yeah.
That's got to be the most satisfying thing.
It
Probably
really
more
is.
than is it more? Do you get more satisfaction out of winning awards or seeing your script come to life, like in the Mortuary Assistant?
Uh,
What excites
Oh,
you
you're
more?
absolutely right about that. Yeah, I mean, the awards are great, of course, because it means somebody liked your thing and they're willing to, give you a prize for it or whatever. But as a writer, all I'm trying to do is take all this chaos and put it up on the screen. And so to have them bring it to life like that, there really is nothing like it. It is the most surreal and satisfying thing that I can imagine. The only other thing that is like second to that is sitting in the audience in the dark and having people go at just the right moments or
Yeah.
whatever, and like sitting next to them and going hee hee hee.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
both of those things are pretty amazing.
there is something very fun. There is something very fun about sitting there and knowing what's coming to come next to the sit next to a person that
Yes.
doesn't. I did that to my buddy. I got him with the preview for The Shallows. I had already
Oh,
seen it, and
yeah.
then I said, oh, what's this? And we're sitting here like, oh wow. And then when the moment came, the shark came out, and his ass, would jumped, and I'm sitting there just losing it. And he goes, "You knew he said, you knew that was coming." I'm like,
Yep.
"Yep."
Yep. Well, not just
Uh,
know, like as the writer, it's not even just knowing that it's coming, it's just knowing that I have impacted the people around me like that. And so
right.
it's all about connection. The whole reason we write is to connect with people through our stories, through our words. And so sitting in the theater and and feeling what they're feeling, and knowing that it's because I put words onto a page, like it's a superpower. It's amazing.
Yeah, I can imagine that. Um, bef- so where did you get your start at? Because not only do you write screenplays and short films, and you are dabbling there, or not dabbling, but I mean that's where you're at now.
Mhm.
You've written four books. They're in Amazon, and I mean, where did you get your start at? I mean, as far as when you started writing, did you write for yourself at first, or were you always a screenwriter?
No,
Did you write
actually,
plays?
I came into screenwriting really late in life. I was 40 when I wrote my first screenplay. And I had been a horse trainer for most of my life. That was my whole world. Very high in competition, and I ran the biggest horse riding academy in the county, and that was my whole identity. And then I got really sick, and for several years was basically just waiting to die.
Yeah.
And kind of when you lose the thing that you thought you were, there's not really, you can't really figure out what's supposed to come next. And I remember just thinking, I I either got to get busy living or get busy dying. And at just that moment in my head, a flyer fell from the sky, but actually came in the mail, for a short story writing workshop. And I thought, well, I've always loved writing, and maybe this will be, give me something to do, because I couldn't even drive, but the workshop was close enough by that I could get a ride there if I needed to. And I wrote a story about a horse trainer who was dying. Real original. As you write what you know.
I was just
Um,
going to ask you, did you have Lyme
yeah,
disease?
I did have Lyme disease, yeah, among other things. But yeah, that was really what was knocked me out off
I
my
put
out of the
horses. I
saddle.
put horses. I put
Yeah.
horses outside, and one like, what could be out there that could cost them? And they're like, the only thing you
Yeah.
came up with was Lyme.
Yep,
Wow.
you're right. Yeah, you nailed it. But part of the workshop is that people would read the story, like out loud. You would kind of cast the characters, and people would read the dialogue and then narrate the narration parts. Anyway, um, while that was happening, I just remember thinking, "Gosh, this makes me feel a spark of aliveness, because again, I'm connecting with people through my story." And someone said, "Gosh, this should be a movie. I can see this. This needs to be a movie." And just like a light bulb went off in my head, and I went home and I Googled how to write a screenplay, and that's really what started it all. I taught myself how to write, and then I took some classes, and I got all the books, and I wrote a couple more screenplays, and most of them weren't great at first, but little by little figured that out. And one of the early screenplays was this sweet little family drama. So I was writing mostly horse and girl stories, because again, that's what I knew, or family dramas. And I had this sweet little family drama about this boy who basically was obsessed with preparing for the end of the world, because he had lost everything. So for him, the end of the world had already happened. And I went to, they used to have these live pitch fests down in LA. And at this time, I was living up in Northern California. And I went down and watched that and a couple of the other, got the attention of an assistant who took it to her boss, who took it to his boss, and it kind of went up the ladder a little bit. It never actually got made, but what it did do was connect me with the filmmaker who was really loved it, and he became a mentor for me. And everything else that kind of has come since then, including the Mortuary Assistant, was because of those early relationships, and those early scripts that I wrote.
All right. Our good friend Hobbs is back again. Hobbs. That's right. You mentioned that's right. So our good friend Hobbs says, "Hello, as a person with a chronic medical condition, he can understand wanting to live like every day is your last.
Mhm.
Could you talk about your work on A Date from Hell and A Good Ruckus?
Oh, how fun. Thanks, thanks for checking all my stuff out. A Good Ruckus was just a small project that I worked on with a good friend of mine. Helped her get that made. It was a pilot she was working on, and I I was a producer and mostly I was working as the AD on that one. The biggest challenge on that one is it was really my first assistant director role, and the main role of an assistant director is to make sure this film stays on schedule, right? And you're just constantly reminding people, hey, we got to get this shot. Hey, we got to get this shot. And so I was very strict about that, and I was stomping around making sure that we were staying on track. And at one point, somebody said, "Hey, chill. We're gonna get it made. You're making her stressed out. Calm down." And so I kind of learned to balance, when to say, "Hey, we need to push," and when we need to when I can just back off and let them get their thing down. Date from Hell was an amazing project for so many reasons. Most importantly, it connected me with my film producing partner, Ven Scott, who we've done many projects together since, including a feature film we just wrapped on um, called Blood Hollow. So, really, really grateful that I got to work on Date from Hell. I came into that, they had already, they had a script and they were getting ready to shoot it. And Ven and his producing partner at the time said, we need to get somebody in here to take a look at the script. And so they reached out to me. I'd met Brandon, the other producer, at the Austin Film Festival a few months before. And so they reached out to me and said, hey, can you take a look at this? Just, let us know what you think, what it needs. And that's kind of how I got in as one of the writers on it, rewrote it a little bit, toned down some of the fart jokes and elevated a little bit of the relationships in that as I tend to do. And again, from there, I mean, we've gone on to make, I think, 10 short films and this feature film together. So really grateful for that project for so many reasons.
I can totally understand about this. About the because you're new to your element. You're new to the element. You coming from a different background, whereas hurrying and things being moved along at a brisk pace. That
Yeah.
sort of happens in the world of horses.
Yes.
Whether it be a show or so. You're doing exactly what you knew.
Mhm.
You're running it you're running it like you would have if you're working. So I mean, it's not like it's just like anything else. It's like until you gain some experience from that.
Exactly.
Yeah. So for them to sort of bark at you, it's like, man, I wouldn't have barked at you at all. I would have really been happy because you're that conscientious about it.
Yeah, I mean, it was
And
fair. I wasn't being mean about it, but at the same time, this was her first project too. So I understood. I understood where they were coming from. She needed a little bit of
uh,
grace, so it's okay.
let's see. Hobb says his next question I had was if you develop a good story, write a good or ha- if you develop a good story or write a good script, does one have to be copyright first before selling it, or does one go to what does one go to freelance? What do you recommend as a person?
Always copyright it before you send it out. Absolutely.
Uh,
When you sell it, if you sell it as a script, you can transfer the copyright to them, but until then, it's yours, and you need to copyright it before you send it out. Don't register. There's no point in registering it with the WGA. Just get it copywritten.
I was gonna say, I know a lot of people, when I guess you copyright the main idea. Does that copyright cover, like passes? Because
Yeah.
you know how that goes.
Yeah,
And
as
so it
long
does
as
cover.
the make, so you can't copyright an idea. So it has to be a completed story, a completed script or whatever. But as long as the main elements of it don't change too drastically, the copyright will cover, the majority of your drafts.
Because it's pretty rare that anybody sits down and writes a script 100 self-contained. it's like everybody takes, like you've had I'm sure you've
Mhm,
had your work, and you just mentioned that about you did that for another writer where
mhm.
they pass over the work, they give it to
Yeah,
you, you look over it. Yeah. What's
right.
that like? What's that like when someone says, okay, we're going to have someone else take a pass on it? Is
Mhm.
that, do you get sort of nervous because, you know,
Well,
they
are
can
you
say
asking if someone else, if they're gonna bring another writer on to rewrite it? Or are you just talking about someone giving me feedback?
feedback?
Okay, so that is like a necessary part of this business. If you cannot take feedback, you probably are in the wrong business. But some people are better at giving notes than others, for sure. Some people are so wanting to impress you with their skill that they offer ideas that are essentially a whole different story. They're basically trying to make it their story. Not in a bad way, like they're not doing it out of spite or anything. They just think that that's how they can best help you. A good feedbacker, that's not a word, a good someone who gives good feedback is really good at finding how to elevate your existing story. And so can give you feedback on, here's what's missing, here's where I was missing, here's where I kind of started to get a little lost, or here's what, I'd love to see more of this character become this or that kind of thing. And what I have learned is, again, some people are good at that and some people aren't. And you kind of find your group. So, of course, I've been at this a while now. And I've had, I have a very small handful of people that I trust to read the script and give me honest feedback. Because the other version is someone who says, "Oh my gosh, this is amazing! I love it! It's the best thing I've ever read," and that doesn't help either.
Right.
So you kind of keep um, looking for the people who you vibe with that can give the kind of feedback that's actually going to help your script. And um, now I have just like I think three people that I trust to read my scripts, and then I also have my manager, so he does a lot of the. I kind of usually what I do now is I'll write the first, we call it a vomit draft, where you just like you don't even check spelling and you just sort of write until you get to the end, and it's a mess, but it's at least it's clay that you can start to do something with, and then I'll read through it and make sure it's at least trying to do what I wanted it to do. And then I will send that out to one or two people that I trust really well, that I also give notes to, that I consider friends and colleagues and all that. And then they'll give me feedback and then I'll rewrite it. And then I'll send that draft to my manager. And then he'll say, okay, great, but we need to change all of these things. And then it's kind of back to square one until we get it to something that feels, that everybody feels strongly can go out to market.
Paul Gomez is here. Hello, Paul. How are
Hi,
you? He says,
Paul.
oh, I take it you know each other.
Nope, just saying hi.
Oh, I was gonna say, I don't think this. I think this is Paul's first time here. I think.
Cool.
It says it's hard to find good feedback. Ask 100, get 100 different opinions.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's true. I
Well,
mean,
don't
that's
ask
true.
100. That's one of the
Yeah,
things I think people do make a mistake is they send it out to too many people and too many people at once. So I will usually send one draft to one person, apply those notes, and then send it to one person and apply those notes. You send it to too many people at once, and you're just going to get lost in the weeds.
right, right. Now, how did you end up with the Mortuary Assistant? I mean, this was your
So
first feature film, right?
what's that?
This was your first feature. I mean,
It was my first
you're
produced feature, not the first feature I'd written. But it was one. So um, do you remember me telling you about the sweet little family drama about the little boy?
yes,
Well, the producer that had become my mentor on that was working on a project with the producers for Mortuary, long before Mortuary was in the, well, not long before Mortuary was in the works for me. It was about a year or two before that started to happen. He was working on a project with them, and he wanted to direct it, but he is a WGA writer, Joe Russo, and so he can't write it if it's not going to be a WGA project. So he wanted to bring me in on the project, to write that script for that other horror movie that he had kind of come up with the idea of, but then needed a new writer on. And because we knew each other and we worked together on some other things, he knew he could trust me, and um, knew that we could work together to kind of bring his vision to life. And so he went to them and said, "Hey, I'd like to bring Tracee onto that project." And they said, "Oh, we know Tracee. We read one of her scripts. It was actually the shark script that I mentioned at the beginning of the call. And we love her. We love her writing. Sure, bring her on." That project kind of got shelved for now. But about halfway through the process of writing that one, they came back to Joe and said, "Hey, do you think we could talk to Tracee about working on another project for us?" And he said, "I guess so. Why don't you ask her?" And so they came to me and said, "We've got this video game project. We think we have a basic story in place because the video game is already out there, but we need someone to kind of bring the characters to life and give them some real meat. And we know, and one thing that I've kind of gotten known for is writing strong characters. You take the monsters out of my stories and they're still stories we care about. These are people we care about, their journeys that we care about, even without the scary parts. And so, which I'm so grateful for. And again, that goes back to writing sweet family dramas and horse stories. I had to rely on the character work, to make those stories work. With horror, you can get away, like, you have good enough blood and enough jump scares and enough, good monster and special effects. Sometimes you can get away without having character work. Not as much anymore because the horror fans are starting to get smart and they want smarter stories.
Right.
But that, I'm so grateful for that early work because it really gave me the chops to be able to pull something like that off. And so I met with Brian, the game developer. It's his baby. Made sure we could get along. Talked about what they really wanted out of the story, what they felt was missing. And then he and I worked really closely together. As I was writing the script, because again, it's his baby, and he had spent so much time and effort, developing the rules of the game and the lore and all that I
What,
didn't know anything about.
what was he
Um,
like meeting him? Was he
he's he's
was he
wonderful. I
open?
love him. Yeah, Brian's great. He's so passionate about his games, and like he really believes in his stories. And so one of the things that I was really committed to was honoring his vision, and which translates to honoring the game fans as well, right? Like the game couldn't take a back seat. It had to really be kind of front and center for both the fans and for Brian.
Right. Now, had you ever seen the game being played? Did Brian play it for you?
Well,
Did it?
so I can't play first person video games. I
I
don't
can either.
have my brain doesn't work. I'm the person who just like gets my character stuck in a corner and bounces off the wall for 5 minutes, and then I throw the I don't have the brain that works that
No,
way. So what
no,
I did is
me
I
either.
have some friends that are big fans of the game, and so I watched them play it a few times.
And so you sit back there and take notes on the
Oh
gameplay and
yeah.
the character.
Hmm.
Oh, that's interesting. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
This,
And actually it was really cool because I was kind of able to, so I was watching it on, I guess it's Twitch. So it's like you're kind of behind the game player. So it's like two things removed almost, right? So I'm watching them watching the screen. And so getting to hear their dialogue and their conversation around what's going on, plus the experience of the game and the jump scares and the things that the game does so well to scare you, really was a great way to immerse myself in a way that translated, I think, well to the page.
Now, did he have notes himself? Like, did he come in with a, well, I have some ideas on how this goes, or did he just did he just said, you know what, I totally trust the process here. I'm gonna go
It was
ahead.
actually kind of both. It was really kind of both. Uh, they had kind of an outline script, right? They had an idea of where they wanted the story to go. Um, but at the same time, they were like, we trust you, do what you want to do, and let's see how we can make those two things kind of join up. Um, and so there were some things that I kind of had creative license with, as far as the kind of the connective tissue of why she's doing what she's doing. And really, for me, a lot of it was the kind of the symbolism of drug addiction and the demons you carry with you, right? So this is such a an obvious, like, inner demons versus outer demons kind of story. And for me, that was really the piece that I wanted to really lean into. And they gave me free reign to explore that.
I think for the in this case, for sure, I think if they would have just gotten a regular guy, like, okay, I'm gonna do a Tomb Raider, or I'm gonna do,
Hmm.
that sort. I think if they would have just forgotten the characters, I don't think this movie comes out nearly as successful as it does. Because I mean, even if you stripped away, all the horror elements, and it's just
Hmm.
Rebecca, working overnight.
Right.
I still think the characters themselves, I mean, and that's hands off to Brian for that too, because
Hmm.
he didn't make his characters just one dimensional.
Right.
I mean, you actually, and like I said, I haven't played the game, but based on what I saw there, you could see how much character
Hmm.
and depth that these characters that you gave them. I think people will tend to forget that it's not. They'll forget that they're in a game,
Hmm.
and I think
Good.
that's probably
Yeah,
the
and that, I
best
think
thing.
that's really important, right? Because we wanted to honor the fans and make sure we gave them something that they appreciated and didn't stray from the game. But we also wanted to reach a wider audience, and make sure that it was could stand on its own. So, and I appreciate you saying that. I'm so glad that you saw the character coming to life like that.
See, that's the hardest thing. You try telling this. I've had this discussion many times, and that is, whether it be superhero movies or video game movies,
Hmm.
is this is what makes it so damn hard, because all the fans, they're expecting it to be made just tailor made for them.
Right.
Believe me, it can't happen that way. The studio wouldn't make enough money back just on based on your
Hmm.
loyalty. It's
Right.
nice to have, but you're not going to, if I make out a $50 million movie, you're going to come and front end it on the opening weekend. I'm going to
Yeah.
make $10 million back, and that's all I'm going to make.
Right.
The fandoms roll out there, but they don't keep rolling out. So I have
Right.
the right, and I just don't feel like a lot of video game fans, they or comic book fans, they don't get that. For
Hmm.
some reason, that is one thing that just kills me, is when I hear them talk. It's like, origin movies are the hardest. If you can get
Right.
past
Oh
your
yeah.
origin movie,
Hmm.
the sky's the limit. If you
Right.
can if you can make someone like me, who's not a game player, if you
Right.
can get me to sit there and say, hell
Right.
yeah, I can't wait to see it,
Right.
then that's success.
Right.
Um,
And then hopefully
but
you become a fan of the game, right? And then and kind
right.
of it builds the fan base from there.
Sure, and even if you don't play the game, but you still can talk about the movie,
Hmm.
and talk about the movie and the characters in the movie, to get maybe someone who does want to play the game will be
Right.
encouraged to do so based on
Yeah.
how you wrote the story. So it's
Hmm.
really critical, to have a great script like the Mortuary Assistant had, and good actors.
Hmm.
I mean, that's really, I think that really, perfect marriage,
Hmm.
with with your script and the cast.
Yeah.
That's so nice to see. It's so
Yeah.
nice to see.
Yeah, definitely.
We
And
don't
you never
we
know, as
don't
a writer, you never know, right? Once I hand that final draft over and that script over, I don't even know what the movie's going to get. I have no idea. I'm completely out of the loop until I sit in there and see the film roll. So yeah, I was very pleasantly surprised that it really just turned out so well. And like I said, especially Willa, I think just did such an amazing job
Yes, she
of bringing
did.
that character to life. And it was awesome to see her say the lines that I wrote and actually like believe them, because sometimes when actors say a line, it's obviously a line. But most of with her, it really felt like she was saying those words.
Yes. Yeah, you really connect with her on an emotional level.
Hmm.
You really want her to succeed. You
Yeah,
want her to overcome
right.
because she's facing long odds.
Hmm.
See, Paul is mentioning here, I come from a different medium, comics, before finding screenwriting, trying to do a short film. It's hard to stay true to original material. Everyone wants it to change.
Hmm.
It's hard. It is hard, and I agree with that. Again, I was talking to somebody about that today. About changing. Like you were talking about Supergirl, and it's like you
Hmm.
know they just did you see Supergirl yet?
Me, no, not yet.
No. Okay. I was gonna ask. See, I was gonna ask. Well, I mean, I just feel like the script itself just wasn't. It didn't lead up to. It wasn't very impactful for me.
Hmm.
I know the story. It's hell. I'll quite honestly, and I don't mean any. I mean, I'm from the heart here. Um, I felt like dog ears had more emotion,
Wow.
more heart
Wow. that's
than Supergirl. If you wanted
that's
to watch,
awesome.
you would. You want to spend 2 hours watching that. I could take you over here for 6 minutes.
Yeah.
4 minutes and 52 seconds, and
I
that's
really
what it is.
appreciate that. I appreciate that. And Paul, I hear you. It is so hard. You're coming in with your comic book and you're trying to turn it into something, short film, and everybody kind of wants to turn it into something. But the one thing that I would say, if you're wanting to become a screenwriter, is you have to learn to be collaborative. This is an extremely collaborative business. And one of the things that I love most about it, honestly, is because I'll write a story and then the director will come in and say, yeah, but what about this? How about this? And it's like, oh, I didn't even think about that. Cool. And if it makes sense and I feel like it really does elevate the script, of course I'm going to make that change. And so learning to trust the people around you that are part of your team, as well as kind of trusting yourself when it's okay to say, kind of push back on the changes that want to be made, but not be precious about it. Like, I think 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna take that note because I wanna be collaborative, and I know that it takes so many people to get a movie made.
Yeah, it really does. Um, so what? Now I talked to a couple other screenwriters, but let me ask you: did you get to walk onto the set?
Not
What
this
was your
time.
role?
I'll tell you.
Really?
Okay, so this is a funny, just kind of a funny thing that I don't know. I guess it happens more than we realize. I did not know the movie had been made until someone on Facebook had said, "Hey, I saw that it was in Variety. Congratulations." And I'm like, "What? What are you talking about?" And they had announced that Willow was on the cast. And then I was like, "Oh, that's amazing." And so I reached out to Jeremiah because I did know Jeremiah from previous encounters. And I said, "Hey, I saw that you're going to be on Mortuary. So excited. Good luck on set with the shoot and everything. I'd love to be on set if it's, if you could, if it's possible." And he goes, "Well, we just wrapped last week." Like they were done shooting before I even knew the movie was getting made. I had no idea.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wonder how long. Well, I wonder how long it took.
Well, not, I mean, usually these things take a really, years and years. And I
Right.
believe, I believe from the time actually I'd have to look. I think it was right around a year from the time I sent them the script, the final draft, and said, awesome, it's great working with you. Good luck. Let me know if you need anything more. Um, to when I had the conversation with Jeremiah. So a year is very short in Hollywood time.
I think that's actually speaks so highly of you. Think about that for a second. Here you are. I mean, most times, most screenwriters are on set because there could be changes, like
Yeah.
changes. And here you are, and you're nothing. You don't hear anything.
Well,
Your
there were
script
some,
is,
they did make some changes without me, that they had to for budget wise. But not for the most part, they really stayed true to the script that I sent them.
wow. Now, did you get to go on set for Blood Hollow?
Oh yeah, actually, I was one of the producers on Blood Hollow. I was there every
Okay.
day, all day. It was the I was working on the days off. I was first one in, last one out.
Oh, what was let's talk a little bit about Blood Hollow, and then we'll come
Sure.
back to Mortuary and Dog Ears. No, you know what? Screw that. I'm taking over. I'm taking over. And we're talking
It's your
dog ears.
podcast. You can do whatever you want.
We're talking dog ears because
Okay.
I'm just yeah. So, man, where do you even start with that? Okay, so how did you get the idea for that?
So, I was, this was many years. This was like 9 years ago. I was participating in a short screenplay contest where you had to come up with a story that was 5 pages or less, and it was kind of a round robin thing. And like it was all of the writers voted on which scripts made it to the next round and the next round and the next round, and it was a finalist. And I don't know, like you say, where did you get the idea? I think it was really I had. Um, I love dogs, obviously, and had had so many dogs in my life growing up, especially that were like the shoulder to cry on. It was either the dog or the horse. And it just was one of those, this was like, I had lost my old lab not too long before that. And, it was just kind of a way, most of the writing is a way to process our own emotion in one way or another. Um, and so the concept of that short contest, or that short script contest, was what is happening in the last 5 minutes before an asteroid hits. And so many people were doing, scrambling for safety or loving your loved ones or eating an ice cream or whatever. And for me, it was that final moment with a beloved four-legged friend. Actually, I'm getting super emotional as I'm saying it. And so then, but I needed, this little girl obviously isn't going to be aware of the asteroid falling. So the I had to kind of bring in what is the end of the world for her. And so that's what the kind of the interior stuff that's going on inside the cabin. In the original draft of that, the parents were watching the news footage of the asteroid falling. And so it was just, that's how it connected to the bigger story. So anyway, I wrote that, and years later it's never going to go anywhere. Nobody does anything with 5-page scripts. Years later, I was working on I got brought in to be production manager on a project with a local filmmaker here in Texas. And the director really enjoyed working with me. And I had told him about, some of my scripts I had written and everything. He says, we need to make something of yours. And so I sent him that and a couple other scripts. And he's like, let's make this one. And that's kind of how that one got made. I will tell you, just because you love the movie so much, I'll tell you the story of how I found that dog actor, because she's fabulous, right?
Yeah.
Um, so I had put on Facebook a casting call. I need a dog, an older dog who loves to play ball. And I got so many submissions. Everybody's like, I have a tiny little chihuahua. She hates balls, but can she be in your movie? To, I have this great Pyrenees. He's too lazy to chase a ball, but he'd love to be in your movie. This kind of stuff. And so I found, I know. So I found this black lab who had the look that I wanted. And I brought the dog and the little girl together, and they just didn't have the chemistry. And I just wasn't feeling it. And luckily, I wasn't I was the writer and producer on this, right? So I had this other director, but luckily the director was really, he, he's like, this is your movie. I'm just here to help bring your movie to life.
What was
Um,
the disconnect with the dog and the girl? Was it the girl?
No, it was just, I don't know. I don't know why there was a disconnect. I think the dog was more focused on the ball than like connecting with her. And like I'm like, "Oh, we can make this work. We can make this work. We're shooting in a week. We gotta make this work." And it was like 3 days before we're gonna shoot. Maybe a little bit long, maybe 5 days before we were gonna shoot. And I was at a garage sale up the street from my house. And there's this chocolate lab waddles up to me. She's like 100 years old. She waddles up to me, and I'm not exaggerating. She puts her nose against my leg and looks up at me, and I'm like, "Oh, you want to be in my movie?" So I said, "Whose dog is this? I know this sounds crazy. I'm shooting a movie in a couple of days. I really like your dog to be in the movie. Does she chase a ball?" And they're like, "Yeah, she loves to chase balls." Awesome. So I put the little girl and the dog in the cabin for hours while we were setting up lights and all that kind of stuff. And I just said, give her treats, love on her. They became best of friends. And it was the best, like the best happy chance ever. And I can still see that moment when that dog looked up to me. I'm like, okay, I hear you.
It's now it's my turn to be emotional, but when I saw that, the first thing I saw was the whiskers,
Hmm.
and hmm,
I know. She's really
so
special. She has since passed. Obviously, she was already
yeah.
quite old when we filmed it. And her family just absolutely loved her. And we're so grateful that she got to be in the movie because they still have their copy of that movie anytime they want to watch it and reconnect with her.
Did you happen to see a movie called Good Boy?
Oh, of course. Yes. So
Yeah,
good. So
yeah.
clever. So fun.
So
Yeah.
oh my
That's a
gosh.
great acting dog. I love that dog. What I enjoyed about that movie, differently than I think most people who saw it, is that because I've done a lot of wrangling, the animal handling on set is called wrangling. So I've done a lot of wrangling on projects, anything from baby ducklings to dogs to horses to cows. And I oh no, sorry. I I so I could see while I was watching Good Boy, I could see where the wrangler was cueing the dog, and the dog was just on it. And to me, that was just as awesome, but in a different way.
Oh gosh, he had such an expressive face.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what really got me was the fact that he looks like he's emoting.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, that's been my favorite film I've seen this year.
Ah, cool.
Yeah, Good Boy is amazing.
It's a good
It's
one.
such a, it's, and it speaks to me too. Um, See, I have a 14-year-old cat,
Oh,
and he's slowing down.
yeah.
So when I saw the dog in dog years, that's what got me.
Yeah. Yeah.
When he starts walking slow, and I'm just thinking
Yeah.
that's what's going on with my cat right now.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I could feel that.
Yeah.
Um, so I bet the people, I mean, the ending was just, Jesus, you want to sit there and be surprised by it, but honestly, it just it felt like too every day. And
Hmm.
that's another thing that just, lost me on. It's like,
Yeah.
that should be like a surprise. And yet when I saw it, and I'm going
Yeah.
like, it wasn't, it
Right.
was like,
Right.
I would expect that.
Mm.
And I think that's probably the most heartbreaking aspect about the whole film
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
that,
It is
um,
very much a slice of life story, and it shouldn't happen every day, and it does.
no, God, no.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so dog, I'm gonna put that out here on description down below, and I went over to IMDb, and only one person has written a review for it. There's gonna be two by the end of
Oh,
today.
thank you. Thank you.
Uh,
It's interesting you say that because I just recently was checking it out on IMDb and I'm like, nobody's left a review on this, but people very rarely do on short films. So I
uh,
appreciate that. And I really am so grateful that it touched you so much.
yeah.
And I would
Um,
love more people to see that movie. I would
I'm
love
gonna
that
show it.
that movie to just to get out there because it is so sweet and it is so special and it's one that really means a lot to me as well. I want everybody to see that little movie.
Oh, I'm posting it. I'm posting it all over my platforms.
Cool.
Yeah, I did that. I mean, I love short films. I love the genre.
Hmm.
There's been so many great short films that I've watched and just been blown away from. Some are really fun. Like I got to
Hmm.
watch a short called Boneyard Racers.
Hmm.
Oh my gosh, Tracy, that
It's
movie
fun,
is
huh?
so cool. It
Yeah.
is wicked cool. I'll send it to you, and it's so wicked cool. And and my first question to the filmmakers who were talking about one of their other films, but this is my first question is, are we getting a feature film from Boneyard
Yeah.
Racers? It's so damn good.
And
Uh, um,
that does
so,
seem to be really a, a way that movies are getting made now, obviously, right? Like this is the boom of indie films based on YouTube shorts. And I think that is a really exciting time to be an indie filmmaker for sure.
uh, so let's talk a little bit about Blood Hollow because you have a living legend in your cast. Who is the living legend you have in your cast of Blood Hollow?
Jeffrey Combs.
Damn, you
Yeah.
said it,
Yeah.
man.
He's cool,
Jeffrey
right?
Combs.
It was
Man,
so
how cool!
fun.
That does not get very much cooler than Jeffrey Combs.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's when people say, "Well, tell me about Jeffrey Combs." Well, where do you want me to start? I mean,
Right.
the guy has done so many great things. I love him. I think he's just a terrific actor. So again, it's one of those things, And I feel sort of bad that you weren't able to go on set to watch Willa and Paul go. You say your
Me
words. I feel
too.
sort of bad about that. I do.
Yeah.
I because and again, shout out to Michael Cassie. Michael Cassie, who he wrote a story called Hangman with
Hmm.
Carl Urban, Brittany Snow, and Al Pacino, and he got
Wow.
to be upset. And
Yeah.
he was upset.
Oh, believe
Yeah, it
me,
was like,
in every contract from now on, it is
yeah,
in the contract that I get to be on set.
hell yes,
I
hell
don't have to
yeah,
write if you don't want me to be there to give notes or anything, but I get to be on set if I want to. That's the whole
yes,
that's half of the point of doing it, you know?
right, right. Um, so so Blood Hollow.
Mhm.
Here you're doing producing on this. So what was the experience like? Because this is like really your first time you're on set for a big movie. So
Mhm.
what was it like compared to some of your smaller sets? Did it feel like you're building yourself up to this point? Or, like, okay, I started out here and now I work myself up to here? Or did you just feel like, hey, you know what? I own here. I belong here.
Yeah, it's a little bit of both. I mean, in a lot of ways, it's the same. It's a short film, just more days. You know, it's instead of 3 days or 5 days, it's 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Um, so there's less time to recover. I was exhausted pretty much from day one on. But and because it was such a indie film is always tight budget, and so
Yeah.
everybody's wearing so many hats, again, which feels a lot like the short films we've done. It was obviously a much bigger, many more moving pieces that we had to take care of and be aware of. um but it didn't feel like, aha, I have arrived. It just felt like this is, yeah, we're doing the work. We know how to do this. Let's get things done. There were definitely some challenges. We wrapped like actually the last 2 days, massive ice storm came in, And so the final night of shooting we actually had to cut it short. It was dangerous for the cast. So those kind of challenges were tricky. And then at one point we had so much wind that it was like blowing set pieces around. But
Oh, wow.
so you just never know. You just kind of got to roll with the punches and do what you can.
Now, how does one? Let me ask you this question if I can, and I understand if you don't feel comfortable answering it, but it's just a technical question per se. But how does screenwriting how does the pay work? Does it pay on the matter of pages that you produce?
Mm-mm.
Is it a matter of words that it's on the page?
No, no, not
Um,
at all. It's the story. It's the story. So on some projects like Mortuary, I was hired to come in to write. Sometimes it's a speculative script. It's a story that came out of my brain that I wrote that then we find a buyer for, like the shark script that that's getting made. Um, uh, with Blood Hollow, Ven Scott, the director on that one, and we've worked on so many projects together. We're partners on that. We actually were standing in line at a haunted house last Halloween. Oh, actually, I guess it was 2 Halloweens ago now. And we're like, it would be so cool to make a movie here. We should make a movie here. And as we're in line, we're like, what if it was this and this? And we're like riffing off of each other, kind of coming up with an idea. And that's kind of how that was born. And then as far as like, pay on something like that, very often it's deferred because you need the money to actually like pay the actors and the sound guys and the light guys and the camera guys and the Jeffrey Combses. so
yeah,
so
yeah,
very
Jeffrey ain't
often,
cheap.
yeah. So very often on that kind of thing, you're coming in. Um, it's the pay is going to come when the movie gets distribution, essentially. So
Uh,
there's a lot of different ways, but it's never by the page or by the word. It is the story, the script itself, and there's always um more drafts that are part of the contract as well. So like you're selling this version, but also we're going to have notes and we're going to come back to you and you're going to rewrite it again. So
right, right.
I'm sure you've heard this, but writing is rewriting when it comes to screenwriting. And it is really true. And you kind of just have to like, again, not be precious about anything and be like, but
Right.
it has to be this because again, it's so collaborative. And especially when you bring a director in or an actor in, they're going to want to, they're going to have their own vision of it and their own ideas of it. And if you can't um, honor that and bring their vision into your story, you're not going to last very long in this industry.
Now, yeah, but it doesn't. Isn't that pretty much just for the level of actors concerned? I mean, I'm looking at the cast, the roll call for Blood Hollow, and I'm seeing other than Jeffrey Combs, I'm not seeing every that I look at that I feel could walk up there and say, "Oh, by the way, Tracy, I have something to say." I don't see that level of actor
Well,
on
and
here. I
and
mean,
uh, and even a higher, an A-list actor isn't going to do it that way. I don't think it's more like, hey, I was thinking because they embody the character so much, right? They live the character, and so usually it's more like, hey, I was thinking it would almost make sense if she said this instead, or um, there was a moment on set for Blood Hollow. I can't remember exactly. I wouldn't want to give it away anyway, but there's a moment where um there was supposed to be kind of this impactful thing that happened and the actress I said, hey, can someone go get Tracy, because it was tight, like what they were filming inside of a van. And so I came in and what's up, and she said, hey, I was thinking, what if it seems like this character wouldn't do that, she would do this instead. And I thought about it, and then I said, I asked the director, what do you think? And he's like, you tell me. um
hmm,
and so I was like, I'm going to trust my actress on this. It feels right to me. And I'm going to trust my actress on this because she's living that character in this moment. And so y- again, yeah, anybody is going to make changes. Do I have to take that note? No. If the director, usually you have to take the director's notes when you get to a certain stage because it becomes their movie pretty
Right.
quickly. But again, usually you have worked so collaboratively and so closely for a while before before you start rolling. And so if the director says, "Hey, I think we need this," like in my shark movie, the director, when our first meeting, he was like, "We need more sharks. We need more
Yeah,
sharks in this
we need
shark
more
movie."
sharks.
And I'm like, "But in Jaws, we only see the shark for like, in this." And then they're like, "Yeah, but I want more sharks." And so I was like, "Okay." And at first I like huffed and puffed for a minute, but it's the job.
What
You
what what kind of shark is it? It's not a great white, is it?
No, they're
Okay,
they're
God.
they're bull sharks.
I,
um, and so
I'm so tired. I'm so tired of seeing great whites. It's like every single damn shark movie. Here comes a great white. It's like,
yeah,
there's other sharks out there. There's bull sharks or tiger sharks or
yeah.
hammerhead shark.
I think
That
that's why I
can be,
like Deep Blue Sea so much, just because it was the
yeah,
tiger sharks.
mako, tiger
Yeah, oh, the
shark, mako.
mako. It was the makos. Yeah, and
Yeah,
and it's that we are learning that great whites are actually far more gentle and easygoing than like a mako or a bull shark. I don't know why, but the one that just came out, the hurricane one, um,
oh,
Thrash,
yeah,
Thrash. It was bull sharks.
yeah. Yeah, bull sharks are no, they're, yeah, they do a lot of damage. They
Yeah,
kill a lot of people. That's for
yeah,
sure.
they do. They do.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's no doubt. Not so much makos, but yeah, I think bull sharks are probably the second deadliest shark behind the great white as far as when they do get a hold of you.
Hmm.
But I think maybe bull sharks maybe they have the highest kill rate per
I
se.
think so. I think you're right because the great whites tend to spit you out, but the bull sharks will keep eating.
Yeah. Bull shark. I'm all about it. I mean, you can't have enough bull sharks, Tracy. Trust me. My friend Eric and I, we do what we call sharks versus schlock every summer, and we each, I give him. Well, this year I have to get. He gives me 5 shark movies to watch and review, and I give him 5 schlocky movies to watch and
Oh,
review.
how fun!
And
That's
we do
awesome.
that. We do that. That's when I saw your shirt, and we're like, oh yeah, he should.
Yeah.
See, it's too bad he's not here for this. Uh, so as far as the producing part goes, what was your role in landing Jeffrey Combs? Were you part of?
Not at all.
Did you have to?
That was between our executive producer and the director. I had nothing to do with that.
Okay,
My involvement with Jeffrey was picking him up from the airport and making sure he had everything he needed in his trailer, and making sure he got to set on time. My favorite Jeffrey moment, though, so I have a beautiful service dog named Luna, and so she was on set with me, of course. And I had my office trailer where Luna and and it was also where the other actors tended to hang out, where I was working out of and making sure everything was getting taken care of where it needed to be and the bills were getting paid and all that. And then we had Jeffrey's trailer right behind it. And his was much fancier and everything worked in his trailer. And he had a nice heater and it was a nice clean space. And ours was like trash because everybody was in it and it was muddy and because there was so much traffic in and out. And he comes stomping up my stairs and I'm like, "What's happening? What do you need? Can I get you anything? What's up?" And he's like, "I just need some Luna time." And he goes to the couch and Luna just immediately crawls up into his lap. And like, I have this great picture of Luna just staring up at him with adoration. It was a great moment.
speaking of animals, we touched briefly upon this. You were in horses.
Mhm.
How did you find yourself involved with horses, and what exactly did you do before you got sick? I mean, did you train them, raise them? What was
I
your
did.
what?
So I rode, I got put up on a horse when I was about 4 years old for the first time. And it was like people who are horse people joke about it. It's a virus, and like you get that horsehair in your nose and you're addicted from then on. And that was pretty much it for me. And so by the time I was 13, I was actually a professional, and working at a barn, giving writing lessons to or newer writers. And I did mostly in the early years, did a lot of hunter jumper, was competing like kind of for a while. The goal was to make it to the Olympics. And then kind of from there transitioned to starting young horses, starting young colts, they used to call breaking. And then was doing a lot of like barrel racing and that sort of thing, and getting
Uh,
championship belt buckles. And um, then I then really started focusing on kind of two things, um, working with wild Mustangs and um, teaching young kids to ride, and bringing that love that had been so much a big part of my life, making it available to others.
I think people are really shocked when they go to Arizona or New Mexico and they see wild horses
Wild
out
horses.
in the
Yeah.
wild. Yeah,
Yeah.
that is so interesting to me. It's like you see them, you think you're part of somebody's herd, and it's just, oh
Right.
no,
You're
they're
like,
on no,
we
no,
have we have wild horses in this country, fewer and fewer, but we
yeah.
do have them. Um, oh wait, oh gosh. Oh, and shoot, I don't know what it was. I had something really cool to say, and it just went boop out of my head because you got me talking
Oh,
about wild horses.
oh, uh, so as far as that goes, you wrote four books well, you wrote about writing and you wrote about horses. So I mean, you've always been a writer, haven't you?
Though those books came much later, actually. Those were only
Oh,
recent.
really?
I would say
Okay.
I was always a writer in the sense that like it was my favorite subject in school. I loved writing essays like a weirdo. I was very much a voracious reader. And so, yeah, books and novels and stories and movies were always something I was passionate about. I did make a camcorder movie when I was about 14 years old, and it was actually a horror movie. It was about a demonic horse, of all things.
I think I have to introduce you to Duke. Yeah, yeah. Duke's a demon possessed unicorn.
Oh,
He's for our good friend Steve Brzezinski and his wife Eileen.
that's
They made
awesome.
a four movie franchise called Carousel, and
That's
it's so
awesome.
good. And Duke the Unicorn, he goes around and he does not like to be ridden on. He doesn't like to be put stuff on him, and he's put up with it for enough years, and finally he breaks out and he goes on a killing spree.
Oh, man. There
Absolutely
you
love it.
go.
What are some of the movies that some of the screenwriters or the films that they've done? What has caught your fancy? What writing? What movies have you noticed that have been exceptionally written well, and that you've
Um,
enjoyed?
so from the so I will say some of them might surprise you a little bit, because the screenplay, I read the screenplays before I see the movie sometimes. And so a couple of the scripts absolutely just adored. Um, and the one that is always my go-to is the screenplay for a Bird Box. That I read almost every year. Now I used to read it like twice a year, and now I have it basically memorized, so I just read it like once a year. It's just so well written, and it taught me so much about pacing and how the reader is always your first audience. So that was kind of my masterclass, was that script actually. Um,
Uh, I just want to say real quick, I didn't know he would come, but our good friend Steve is here, and he has a black lab named Lucas, or Lucas
Aw.
Boy. And yeah, it's a great timing, Steve, because we're just talking about dogs. I'll send you a clip afterwards, and then he'll get mad at me. He'll say, no, I can't
Oh,
stop. I can't
why'd
stop
you make me
talking.
watch that?
Yeah, but you know what? He will also get the word out.
Awesome.
He,
Awesome.
Steve, he does a show on Mondays, and I can guarantee you he will be talking about the movie I will be sending
Oh,
him dog
I
food.
love
I
that.
guarantee he, yeah, he definitely will be talking about it for sure. That's
Cool.
right. I call he has a great dog named Lucas Boy, and I
Oh,
call him Lucas Boy, and he's awesome. He's a really good dog, and such a love. I mean, gosh, I'm a cat guy, boy, but if I got a dog, it'd be Lucas.
oh,
Just yeah. Yeah, yeah, I got it for you after this, after the show, Steve, for sure. I
Steve, let me
promise
know
you.
what you think about it.
Um, so I just love the fact that that you're so you have such diversity, writing, and now getting into producing,
Mhm.
and screenwriting. And I just got done asking, like, well, I was going to ask you, like, who are some of the other people that
Mhm.
you like? Some of the movies that maybe like, wow, if I could write something like that, or if I had a
Yeah.
chance, how would I have written that? What are
Mhm.
some of the movies that got reached out and got a hold of you that way?
The other one that comes to mind is Black Phone. I loved that movie, that script. I loved how every little thing was a setup for the ending. And I tend to be naive when I'm watching a movie, and I'm not the kind of person who figures stuff out early on. So when that ending came, it really took me by surprise. And I'm like, oh, that's why he did that. And that's why he did that. And that's why he did that. Absolutely loved it. I thought it was just so well done and such an amazing, um, essentially, a contained story, right? It was very few characters, very
Mhm.
few locations. Absolutely love that one. Another one is 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Oh, that's a
I
great one.
just again, you have no room for for frivolity. Like it's three people, mostly two people, half the time one person in a tiny, tiny, tiny space. And the way that you're invested so much and you never really know what's coming and you never really know if he's telling the truth or not. And it's like, it's that just because he's crazy doesn't mean he's wrong, you know?
Well,
So that's another one.
I love the fact the idea it was played by John Goodman.
Yeah.
John Goodman at that time, oh, that's Dan from
Comedy.
the com
Yeah.
right,
Yes.
I mean, when I remember watching that movie and being just blown away with his performance.
Yeah.
And the
So
only
good.
other another actor that can do that like a drop of a hat, like he can go from lovable. I mean, even right now he's doing a series where he comes across as extremely lovable and everybody likes him,
Yeah.
but at the drop of a hat,
Yeah.
man, he just
Switch.
turns, and that's Jason Sudeikis.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And when he does turn, it's uncomfortable. Like
Yes.
it's like, whoa, I'm not okay with that.
No, absolutely not. When I watched that movie Colossal, and
Mhm.
it was just absolutely mind blowing. It's like I'm sitting there
That's cool.
watching him, just lovable Jason, and then all of a sudden he just turns, and
Yeah.
it was just like wow, and
Yeah.
you just does that when you watch a performance like that, does that make your hand itch to go home and start writing something
Oh, always. Yeah,
along
for
that line?
sure. Absolutely. And it's not so much the performances. It's the why behind what they're doing. It's the story. It's like it's the thing, like why did he turn in that moment? Why did he, how did and actually how did they trick us into trusting him so that when he does turn, it takes you by surprise? That's the part that makes me want to go home and be a better writer.
Um, Jimmy, I'm just curious because because he's seen so many. But what are some of who are some of the greatest characters that you've seen that have been written for? Like someone took this character and wrote it, like Jason Sudeikis in Colossal. I mean, or 10 Cloverfield Lane
Yeah.
with John Goodman. What
Something
I
that
mean,
I think that's very, very new movie that's basically everybody's talking about is Obsession. And both of those characters, especially the male character, you've seen it, right?
I haven't seen it, but I've heard about it.
You got to see it. It's
Yeah,
as good as everybody says. I mean, it is really, really good. The male
I wouldn't have
character
thought.
in that one, you he's you just feel for him and you see why he's doing what he's doing, and then you're like, please don't do that. This is not a good idea. And then her performance is as good as everybody says, and absolutely deserves a nomination. It goes from being she go like you want to talk about going from lovable
The
sweet
60s.
girl next door to that psychopath that you're terrified of. um she does an amazing job, like, oh my gosh, so good. That's another one on my list that I would love to write something like that. And the other one that I always put on my list is A Quiet Place. I absolutely adore that movie.
What? Now, okay, I'm glad. Oh my gosh, this is going to be fun. Okay, so as a screenwriter, Tracee, tell me what would you have done to what would you have done to save that movie?
To save that movie, I love that
Yeah,
movie as it is. I thought it was perfect.
really.
I love
I
it. I
I
love it. I
I
cry every time. I think because, at the beginning of our talk here, one of the things I said is I want to, if you take the monsters out, do you still have a good story that you care about? And to me, that Quiet Place absolutely does that.
yeah. I just what got me was I just got over what for me was. I mean, no disrespect, but this is just and this was what got me. But they did everything wrong. That family did everything wrong. They left the
I
kid out the tail end,
Well, yes.
when they were
Now, okay,
walking. They
if
left him.
I were gonna write it, if I were gonna rewrite it, or okay, come in and give notes, that's the one note I have. The kid shouldn't have been walking by himself. Period. And I wouldn't say they did everything wrong. They did that wrong in the beginning.
Okay,
The
okay,
rest of it,
yeah,
the
but they've
rest
been
of it is,
trapped
I
there.
think, why it works though for me is we don't have experience surviving monstrous, sound affected aliens. We're gonna make mistakes. We're gonna screw up over and over and over again.
I just
That's
thought because I think at the time where we entered the time frame, it had been 3 years since the aliens had come down.
mhm,
And to me was okay if they've been here for 3 years. The
yeah,
one thing that I probably would make damn sure that would never happen on
yeah.
any level is to get pregnant.
That was probably not a good idea, but mistakes happen. I wouldn't say that she did it on purpose, and it's not like there was doctors around to help her with that situation.
I, I'm just like, if anything, I would just sit there and like put the sign up there and no entry until the aliens leave, because that was just like, because it comes down to the last ending, the last episode of MASH, and
Mhm.
Hawkeye's, he's
Yeah,
gone nuts,
yeah,
and he's talking with Sydney, and if we find out that Hawkeye, he didn't choke a chicken. It was the mother smothering her kid because
right,
the noise. And I
right.
just thought, I thought about that and I'm like, that would probably be my first concern is like, if I got pregnant, one, I have to give birth,
Sure.
and two, a baby's gonna be crying. It's just
Yeah.
like it was just absolutely like I just couldn't I just couldn't comprehend the plot holes. I just I couldn't get past that. I was like, wow, this is just it just
I'm sorry.
but
I love
no,
that movie. I watch it. I'll
no,
watch it. I've watched it probably a dozen times. I love it so much. And I saw it when it first came out in the theater, in a packed theater, and
yeah,
nobody was
yeah,
breathing. Everybody was afraid to
no,
even crunch their popcorn. And to me, it was just that experience. That's how you know it's an effective movie.
yes. I remember my wife and we watched Signs, and the
Hmm.
whole theater was like that too. And then the alien popped up, and there's this big burly dude, this big burly guy sitting in the back. He screamed like a little girl, and he broke the whole tension of the theater. We all just laughed because we were so wound up tight. But yeah, but that's a good movie. I mean, the Fireplace is interesting to me. There are definitely some acting performances on there. I love the little girl, the deaf girl. I thought she was great.
Mhm.
Um, I was just like, man, I'm just like, I don't, if it had just had happened,
Uh-huh.
the first 6 weeks of what the aliens had come over the first day, I couldn't say anything because it makes sense. But after 3 years, and like you leave your kid on the trail like that
Yep,
after three
I
years,
agree with you on that one. That I don't know why they
yeah,
did that, and it didn't bother me the first time I saw it, but the subsequent watchings, I was like, "What? You that's stupid." But she does say later, "I could have carried him. He wasn't that heavy." And
right,
that's heartbreaking. And part of what carries that movie so well is her grief, their grief. And
right,
again, you
right.
take the monsters out of that movie, and what you have is this incredible family story about the sacrifices that parents will make for their kids, especially a father.
With Rebecca, we see Rebecca in the Mortuary's Assistant when she gets it opens up with her at a AA meeting. She gets her 1 year chip and support from her sponsor. And I love that scene. I thought it was great. It sort of surprised me to see her turn right around and initially turn right around and look like she was going to score, but then she didn't. And then
Don't give it
her sponsor.
away.
Oh, uh, uh, well, it sort of surprised me. It, did you do research on that? Because it sounded like
It's actually very
absolutely
common.
spot.
It's actually very
Yeah,
common.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, that just seems like that seems so perfectly written.
Mhm.
Was she an easy character to write for? I mean, were you able
No.
to flesh her out?
Um, I wouldn't say it was an easy character to write for, but it was something um I understood her, really
Mm,
well. And so um finding the the wound is already there, that the stuff with the drug addiction and stuff was already written into the game. So that
right.
was something that I could lean into and really, again, that the inner demons that never leave us. And that's really, to me, and you take the monsters out, what's the story about? To me, that's really what it is. Someone who struggles with addiction forever. Doesn't matter
Yes.
how many chips you have, how many days clean you have, that demon stays with you forever. And
That's so
that's,
unusual
to
for
me, why the ending works. I struggled with the ending because I am the kind of person who wants a happy ending, at least to some degree. I write horror because I always say horror is about hope. But this one kind of ended hopeless in a lot of ways. And that was hard for me to kind of wrap my head around until I really got a hold of the drug addiction aspect of it and kind of the symbolism of that. I felt was really important to honor.
I thought the ending was really badass how you wrote it, how Rebecca comes out. I mean, when she comes out into the sunlight and she looks, she sees what she sees. And there's just that slight, like you said, horror has is hope. And as she's staring there and she looks and you see her mouth just twitch up a little bit like, yeah, not today,
Yeah.
and then she realizes that what she has to do. And so
Right.
she turns on her heel and she goes back in, and this time she's going back in to learn how to fight. And
Right.
I really, really I love those type of movies myself. I love those kind of endings like, okay, it ain't over yet,
Right.
and
Right.
I got a lot of fight to go.
Right.
And but it was strange because most of the time you're fighting that to stay away from it, for not letting it come
Hmm.
inside you. And in this
Right.
movie, it's in, and
All
you have
in.
to learn how to
Hmm.
deal with it.
Hmm.
And
Yep.
I thought that was really well done, and very expressive too.
Mm.
Now, are movies kind of like that? Dramatic movies, or like even go back to Dog Years. I mean, that could not have been easy to write that movie. I mean, to see what happened. I mean, it just could not. I mean, I don't know if I could sit there and go like, okay, I'm just gonna write this. I think my mind would just be too blown away by the consequences of that. I don't think I could cope with that very well.
Yeah.
And and so
Well, so it actually it's interesting. So I did a Q&A at a screening for Mortuary, and they said, "How did you essentially go home at night and like not take that home with you?" Um and it was hard for me to answer that question because one, as a writer, you're always living the stories. Like even as we're talking, I'm writing something in the back of my brain to some degree. But at the same time, um it's the writing is processing something that I have dealt with in my life, or something that I am am struggling with, or something that I have strong emotions about, even if it's not something that I personally dealt with. Um, I still have feelings about it, and so the writing helps me process through that in a way that feels safe, and I'm in control. I joke that I get to play God, because I get to decide who lives and who dies, and who goes through what, and who comes out better in the end. And so that's how I can write those really hard things, because it's so healing for me.
yeah. We have hit our mark. I'm just going to go ahead and say thank you to everybody out in our chat here. Thank you for coming out for this. Steve and Lucas Boy and Top Gamey, Toji Gamey, and Hobbs, Paul, Sue, Jerry, Lady Valerie, thank you so much. Tracee, I can't thank you enough for coming out here and sharing your time with us. I've been looking forward to this I couldn't believe when you asked me, when you said that you'd be willing to do this.
Of course.
I don't get a lot of A-listers on here. So, when I get
I
one,
love being called an A-lister, but I don't think I'm quite there yet.
well, you're there for me. I
Oh,
like for me, ISC Shutter Films, they're my jam.
cool.
They are my very favorite. So this came out on Shutter, and I
Yeah,
saw that. That's the first thing I saw with Shutter. I knew was going to be outstanding.
cool.
Um, yeah, I was like, "Oh, hell yeah, go get it, go get it, boys." And so then I watched it, and I was just blown away. I was really,
Awesome.
really well done. You should be very proud of yourself and your
Thank you.
work. And
I'm
I
just
look
proud of
forward
the
to the
team. I'm proud of
yeah.
everybody that worked so hard to make it happen, and it turn into something that I can be proud of.
I can't wait for a Blood Hollow to drop, and I can't wait for the new Shark movie to come. Um,
Yay.
yeah, that's gonna be a lot of fun. And yeah, and when when Blood Hollow drops, you'll have to come back and hang out with us, or
Absolutely. Absolutely.
come back and hang out with me and Jeremiah in August. I'll put it out there for you, and
That'd be
if you
fun.
want to come by and say hi, then please
Cool.
do so.
That'd be fun.
Um,
Thank you so much for this. Actually, I really enjoyed it. And I, love nerding out over movies because we all love them so much. I can
we
talk
do.
movies all day, every day. So thank
Oh,
you
that's
so
a
much
good
for the
thing.
opportunity.
That's a good thing because I'll probably send you a link. You can come over and hang out with us on Sunday night over at my friend Ben's from Cadaver Club. We'll be over there talking with ISC and Shutter Films on Sunday night at 8 o'clock.
Cool.
Let me go over here before I get out of here. Let me go ahead and tell you what's coming up next week because we do have a very busy week next week. Next Monday we have writer and journalist Chrissy Stoddard will be here next Monday at 8 o'clock. On the 15th, we have actor Jack McCool from Kansas City. He'll be here. And on the 10th, we have Alexander Pimento will be here with his team at 8 p.m. And then on the 17th, we have our favorite Louisiana filmmaker, Mitch Lang, will be here talking about the rake investigations and all sorts of creature features. Mitch is a hell of a fun guy, and we
Good.
always look forward to having him on the show. He's a hoot, and he's a great spotter of talent too, whether it
Cool.
be acting talent or crew talent. Mitch Lang is the man. All right. Stay right where you're at, Tracee, just for a couple of minutes. I'm going to say good night to the chat, and
Bye,
we will
everybody.
see you. Yeah, we'll see you guys next Monday when Chrissy Stoddard will be here. Thanks so much. Peace.